Hello YouTube, today we'll be looking at the new submachine guns, the Sirius Black for the VS, the Blitzcrank for the NC, and the Hailstorm for the TR. And this video will mainly be comparing them to the older SMGs, since I already did a comparison between the old ones and carbines, shotguns, and automatic scout rifles. If you want to see that, watch the previous video, link in the description and in an annotation on the screen. Now, one important thing to note is that all three of the new SMGs focus on high magazine capacity and low damage. They all do 125 damage, the same as the Armistice TR submachine gun, coming out to 8 rounds to the torso for a kill across the board, 9 with nanoweave, 10 with high-level nanoweave. The attachments are also slightly different. The former set of submachine guns could all access an extended magazine, and I mentioned in my previous video it was borderline mandatory to take an extended magazine attachment. With the new submachine guns, the TR magazine is 60 rounds, and the VS and NC get 50-round magazines. There is no extended magazine attachment for these. However, they all retain the double laser sight option, and also can obtain a forward grip, which the former set of submachine guns could not use. Let's calculate some damage. 125 damage times 50 bullets equals 6,250 damage per magazine. So for both the NC and VS SMGs, that's 6,250 DPM. 125 times 60 equals 7,500 DPM for the Terran Republic. So all three of these new guns have more damage per magazine than the previous set of submachine guns. Not by a lot for the NC, enough for a full health target for the VS, and enough for 2 targets for the TR. But they do all have higher DPM, and that's assuming we're comparing to the older SMGs with the extended magazine attachment on them. This brings to mind another point. The extended magazine serves one purpose, to increase your damage per magazine, the damage you can deal without having to reload. Since the extended magazine occupies an underbarrel slot, and the new SMGs don't need it and still all have higher DPM, we're put in a position where there's a free underbarrel slot for the new SMGs, where there wasn't one for the previous SMGs. This essentially transfers the same criticism I had comparing the older SMGs with the TR carbines into the picture again, except this time it's for all three factions, because you obtain higher DPM, free and without needing to occupy an underbarrel slot. This allows you to use the double laser or a forward grip, indirectly boosting the weapon's stats. So let's take a look at their accuracy. All the accuracy stats are all the same as all the other SMG options for your faction across the board, regardless of what faction you play, with one exception, and that's the new conglomerate SMG, the Blitz, which has better bloom than the AF-4. Now, because the accuracy stats are all the same, we go back to the underbarrel attachments. Since you effectively get the extended mag free and improved with the new SMGs, this frees up an underbarrel slot the older SMGs don't have. And if you stick a double laser sight on your new SMG, it means all the new weapons are all more accurate than their older counterparts. In terms of DPM and accuracy stats, the new weapons simply outperform the old ones across the board. That's not to say that they're better in every way, but these are pretty big details right off the bat. DPM and the difference of a double laser sight and accuracy are pretty big factors. So let's see if we can redeem the older SMGs. They've lost in DPM and stat accuracy. Let's look at DPS and recoil. The older SMGs clock in at 1,814 DPS for the NC, 1,866 for the TR, and 1,787 for the VS. Now let's compare that to the new blood. At 125 damage per bullet and 845 rounds per minute for both the NC and VS, they both clock in at 1,760 DPS. The new TR SMG fires slower at 800 rounds per minute and clocks in at 1,666 DPS. So despite worse accuracy and worse damage per magazine, the older SMGs do more DPS. There's one problem though, it's not by much. Let's look at the VS. 1,787 DPS compared to 1,760 DPS. That leaves only an insignificant sliver of damage missing, a tiny fraction of one bullet. Because the DPS difference is so incredibly small for the VS, I can't say that will come into play more often than DPM would. You're much more at risk to miss a few shots and need more weapon accuracy or more bullets to fire. For the VS, I can't say the higher DPS is important enough to justify using an older SMG. For the NC, the difference is 1,814 to 1,760. That's still less damage than one bullet, and the same criticisms I have for the VS apply. If you have more weapon accuracy, you may hit where a bullet would have missed, and I don't feel that the DPS increase is enough to cover for the accuracy and DPM differences to actually help you more in a live fire situation, especially since the new NC SMG has better bloom to begin with, making it more accurate even without the double laser being factored in. Technically, the older NC and VS SMGs have higher DPS, but only on a technical level. Practically speaking, I'm grasping at straws to say they have a legitimate benefit here. As for the TR, the DPS difference is actually significant. 1,866 down to 1,666. That's 200 damage, not much under the value of 2 bullets. Here you could rationalize that it's a side grade since the DPS difference might be enough to actually matter. It becomes a question of DPS versus accuracy and DPM. But with a whopping 2,500 DPM increase, you're looking at enough extra bullets for over 2 kills, in addition to the accuracy of a double laser sight or a forward grip. So do you want 200 extra DPS, or do you want 2,500 extra DPM and a double laser sight attachment or a forward grip? That's up to your choice. I think that the extra accuracy of the Hailstorm mitigates the DPS bonus of the Armistice, but it'll come down to your preference. Next, we move on to our final categories, recoil and reload speed. If you're a frequent viewer of mine, you know I don't value reload speed very much. I think DPM will nearly always beat reload speed, and with the new submachine guns, they have higher DPM as a benefit, and I think that outclasses reload speed. It is a topic some would debate, so I will inform you that the new NC and VS guns have noticeably worse reload speeds, however the new TR SMG actually has better reload speed. As for recoil, it depends on what faction you play as. If you're NC, the new SMG has lower recoil and only pulls in one direction on the X and Y axis. This is effectively a straight-up upgrade to the weapon's accuracy, because it makes the recoil significantly more controllable when aimed down the sights, rather than jumping from one direction to another. Consistency offers you ease of control, which translates into ADS accuracy. The end result is the new NC SMG will be more accurate when aimed down the sights. The VS and TR, however, aren't so fortunate. The TR recoil worsens by switching to the new SMG, and the VS recoil, while it doesn't worsen directly, it does change from only one direction on each axis to pulling in more than one direction. The actual reduction in recoil isn't nearly enough to justify the loss of consistency, so from a practicality standpoint, the new VS SMG will be less accurate when aimed down the sights. As will the TR, though not quite as noticeably. However, with that said, this can be mitigated by the use of a forward grip. Once again, an option that the original SMGs do not have. It also can be used while having the DPM bonus the older SMGs need to spend an underbarrel slot to get a weaker version of. Overview! The TR Hailstorm has 2,500 extra damage per magazine when compared to the Armistice extended mag attachment, and also reloads faster, and has the same accuracy stats as the Armistice. It also has the ability to use a double laser sight where the Armistice would spend the slot in an extended magazine, or use a forward grip which the Armistice can't use at all. The Hailstorm does do 200 less DPS, and has more recoil, but those issues can be mitigated by the use of a grip to reduce recoil, or a double laser to increase accuracy. The Hailstorm also has lower projectile velocity, 360 down to 335. The Hailstorm may offer you a better deal with a forward grip to increase your ADS accuracy and reducing its recoil, but ultimately, it's down to personal preference. The NC Blitz has lower recoil than the Cyclone and also more controllable recoil, translating directly to higher ADS accuracy. The Blitz also has lower bloom than the Cyclone, making its stats more accurate by default in that category, but otherwise the accuracy stats are identical. The DPM is higher for the Blitz than with the Cyclone with an extended magazine, though not by a lot. It is still superior and maintains the option of using a double laser or a forward grip, though I would consider a forward grip to be unneeded considering the controllability of its recoil. So if we assume a double laser is there, the Blitz is pretty much a direct upgrade to the Cyclone. The Cyclone has a small amount of extra DPS, 54 to be specific, but that compared to the significantly improved accuracy of the Blitz, in my opinion, makes the Blitz simply better. The Blitz has worse reload speed and loses a small amount of projectile velocity, but I feel like I'm grasping for straws to say that's a big enough feature to make the Cyclone competitive. If you have a preference for weapons that hit harder and don't fire as fast, your personal tastes may let you prefer the Cyclone, but it's because of your style, not the stats. The Vanu Sirius effectively has worse recoil than the Eridani due to lack of controllability. The Eridani's DPS is better by a paltry 17 DPS, too insignificant to factor into the equation, but otherwise has the same accuracy stats. The recoil makes the Eridani more accurate when aimed down the sights. The Sirius has higher damage per magazine, more than the NC's benefit, but less than the TR's, and the Sirius still retains the ability to either boost its accuracy with a double laser, making it more accurate than the Eridani, or lower its recoil with a forward grip, mitigating the ADS accuracy loss. The Sirius has worse reload speed, but once again, I think DPM beats reload speed. Also, the Sirius has a projectile velocity of 400, the fastest of all submachine guns, and 40 greater than the Eridani. On the whole, I feel it's difficult for me to rationalize how the Cyclone or Eridani can win against the Blitz or the Sirius. I feel that both are direct upgrades, and it's a struggle to justify the Eridani or the Cyclone as being able to compete. The few flaws they do have are easily mitigated, so I'm left without justification to the use of the Eridani or Cyclone on any grounds other than that you've purchased them and invested certs into them already, or simply have a preference for slower firing weapons. The TR SMG has a big enough difference in DPS that you could maybe consider it a side grade, but the package deal still seems to be better with a Hailstorm. It irritates me that these guns were released just 3 weeks after the first set of submachine guns, and 2 of them seem to be direct upgrades. Something doesn't sit right with me about that. But anyway, that concludes my review of the new SMGs in PlanetSide 2 as of the February 21st patch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later, YouTube.